Whoa.
Is it money?
Oh my God.
I don't know if I should put this in. I have a dear friend, pero like, Andrea.
Hi.
She's going to be reading our tarot cards. So I saw that she did this exact thing for Ladylike, so I was like, hey, you should do this for Better Like.
So the way that I like to do tarot, I really like to connect with my ancestors. And when I do tarot with somebody else, I like to call on their ancestors to come help too. And so the way that I see it, it's almost like a conversation between my ancestors and your ancestors, talking to us through our instincts or the cards that we choose. I don't like to think of it as like you're influencing the future. I like to think more of it as you're getting to understand how you're feeling in the present moment so that when a situation arises or when the next thing comes down the line, you'll be able to respond to it a lot better. I like to empower people and give people the guidance and the tools to be able to confront whatever they're facing. So what's happening in your life, Maya?
The only place that I don't feel confident in that I'm learning is love. So if love comes up, cool, I'll receive that message.
Besides rich and famous, what else is gonna happen con Gadiel De Orbe?
I want to do mine about love. Can we focus on my love?
Okay.
I just feel like my love life is always super like scattered. That's my own energy because I'm so work focused. Do you know what I mean? So let me know, spirits.
First one is the past.
The past. Dos de lanza.
I'm gonna say that when you were younger, or especially I know that you're in the military, and I feel like you were always this pillar of strength that people would come to and seek advice and solace and peace from. Maybe your life was a little dramatic, chaotic, and it wasn't always like you felt that you yourself had a strong enough ground to stand on, so you had to find that ground in other people. So maybe you had like a mentor or like a father figure or some type of masculine energy in your life that really helped you stay strong in your sense of self. Maybe it was in your family, maybe it was like a community member.
Oh, probably my stepdad. Yeah, my stepdad was always like, he was the masculine guy at the house and I always looked up to him. Yeah. You know, I always wanted to be like him, you know what I mean? I was also the guy that was out of the street, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like in the block, there's always problems. I felt bad because there was younger guys that did look up to me and I didn't do good things in the hood. Things like, oh, when I was gonna get initiated, I thought about you. To get initiated to a gang, I thought, what would Gadiel do? This is not the guy that I want to portray to everybody. You know, I was like a bad impression to these younger guys that were coming on up. You know, even though I saw myself as somebody that wanted to study, wanted something great in life. But now I make people laugh. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's a part of your history, and I don't think that's something that you need to be ashamed of or push away. Yeah. Like you're sharing it now. It's something that brought you to the point that you're at today.
What that mean? Why'd you make that noise?
I'm doing like a really basic bare bones past, present, future.
Yeah.
And so the past shows a lot of conflict. If you look at the card, it's literally somebody lying deceased on a battlefield.
Yep, that's me. That's my love life.
The swords, they represent air, intellect, mentality. And so you can almost think of it as kind of like a prison made of your own making. Somebody who's trying to walk in between a bunch of swords. So what I want to say is that it being inverted both reflects the idea that usually this is more so internal. You have to acknowledge that there's an exchange of energies. Not that you're like the perpetrator per se, but like there is some accountability that needs to be taken on your half on the relationship like love spectrum.
Yeah, well I totally know. I'm a cold person. I live like in this like cage thing. I'm like, you don't want to come in here. And I'm like, what are you doing in here? I mean, and it's fine, and I'm in my cage, and I'm like, if you're in here, that's fine, that's cool, you can totally stay, but you know, you also need to leave out of the cage sometimes.
So Seven of Spears is a fire card, and it represents a temple. Maybe growing up, you had this very pure idea of what a relationship looked like, maybe an idealized form that became a safe place for you to either escape or fantasize about. It was almost as if when times got rough, there was this connection that you had with the idea of love, whether it be for yourself or for another person or for somebody that didn't exist, helped keep you stay hopeful. Is that grammar right?
Yeah, girl.
Talk about it?
This is about love. There was a person who was definitely a safe spot for me that I would come back to when things are kind of at a lull with my love life. It's never gonna work out with them. The time has passed, but I do find myself being comfortable in that space.
And it's funny because this is a time before war, so it's almost like a rest stop. It's a place that people would come to because they saw it as a safe, neutral ground. Speaking of today, ooh, babe.
La muerte, 13, la muerte. First of all, 13 is not a good number, yo.
13 is a great number.
What you mean?
Contrary to popular belief, it was actually like a female empowerment kind of like Wiccan feminine goddess number that got tainted across masculinity and generations who were like, screw women taking power in medicine, and we're taking this number and making it evil. In the grand scheme of things, La Muerte isn't that bad of a card. Because La Muerte represents...
Why are you saying that bad of a card, yo?
And so this
Present, La Muerte, no. This is done.
Take all that what you just said and apply it to what you're doing today. La Muerte is about death, it's about rebirth, it's about ending the circle. Mm-hmm. It's about putting a dot at the end of a sentence. Mm-hmm. It's about closure. Okay. So I feel like you opening up about these things, acknowledging them, you knowing that it's a part of your past and not something that you want to continue towards your future is a very clear representation of this card. It's almost saying like, thank you for giving me the skills and tools that I have today, but the practices and actions are something that I'm no longer going to pick up and necessarily do. And so maybe this is something that's taking a big precedence in your life, thinking about what am I doing with the rest of my career? What am I doing with the rest of my life? What impression am I leaving on people so that I'm doing something good for the world and the universe?
So it's just like, this is going to be a defining moment. Like the past is dead. This is going to be a new me, a rebirth, the Renaissance man. I am the Renaissance man.
She just cleared her throat.
You know, like a desert.
Oh my God.
The image and the story represented in this one is about somebody who has to make a perilous trek between two kingdoms, one that has kind of been forgotten and abandoned and is falling apart, and having to walk through decay and just barren wasteland.
Sounds like my love life right there. And for some reason I'm not mad at it. Like,
no.
I'm like,
and that's like what I also like to get across with this card is that there's almost like a journey aspect to it.
Yeah.
It's not so much like this is your final destination. This moment too shall pass.
So basically my current situation is a desert.
Your current situation is the consequence of childhood traumas, past relationships, and internal misgivings to the point that you have almost been left with very little internal resources. And so I feel like that's the moment that you're in right now, that you just have to like clean house and make sure that your own side of the street is clean and that your own house is in order.
Can I tell you something so weird? That is the second time that somebody has said, make sure your side of the street is clean to me. And I've never heard that expression until like literally this weekend, and that's the second time. And that's something that I am doing, that I have been working on, I think for the past 3 years, is like working and trying to take care of the land inside of my spirit.
What is it? Oh no! What is it?
There's Three of Swords, and this specific story, poor little guy,
Is that me?
actually got rejected from somebody that he was really in love with, but they're going to marry somebody else. So they run out into the middle of the forest where nobody can hear them crying.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it also represents this kind of solitude, quiet moment. It represents a time where like you're not too preoccupied with what's happening outside of yourself, and you're really focusing on building up internal fortitude and rebuilding that trust and safety and solidarity with yourself and your desires in a way that doesn't have you coming back to that person who's already claimed for.
Yeah, I feel very in like a quiet place right now. I am rebuilding things with myself to make sure the next person isn't, I guess that I'm strong enough and that I realize that I am good enough and they're gonna be good enough for me. Back then, I had zero knowledge of my power, of like who I am, the self-love that I have, and I would go back to this person.
I was waiting for the $1 million. When am I getting the $1 million, man?
Alright, let's see. Future card.
Money.
Whoa!
Is it money?
It is money, kinda. So the yes is always a number of like the finale, the ending, the kind of like culmination of all the hard work that you've been putting in throughout the year. And it represents celebration, party, abundance. And so cups represent water, emotions. And so 10 of Cups, I would say, is that you're working on path towards something that will make you feel really fulfilled, that make you feel like you've actually completed your mission in life. Maybe it's like a project connected to helping kids from the hood. You're on track towards something great. No matter what it is, when we're thinking about how you're feeling personally today, like imagine that across like over 10 years. That same feeling of being able to look back and have this feeling of like joy and fulfillment and peace is what I feel like this card is trying to get across. So this last card is the Empress. So this can mean two things. One, it can mean you're a strong, independent lady who doesn't need no man, who is really building her empire and working on really that internal garden of wealth and resources. The other interpretation is that there's an Empress and an Emperor. What this is trying to tell you is that with having done the internal work and healing the past and recognizing what it's done to your present, you'll start seeing plants bloom. You'll start seeing things, this femininity and this fertility and this abundance of the earth kind of starting to show its face to you and hug you and embrace you, and it's reminding you that like you have so much to offer. So either way, you need to open up.
Basically, where he at is what I want to know.
What the fuck is that? What kind of disaster is this card?
It's not the worst thing that could happen to you.
They're dragons attacking a castle.
It's dragons attacking each other on a castle.
Okay.
Slight difference. I personally love this card. Card really closely identifies with the idea of change is inevitable, and just because something crumbles doesn't necessarily mean that you're destroyed. It represents a blessing in disguise.
So does this mean something bad's gonna happen?
No, not necessarily. No, what this means is internal conflict. It means yin and yang, battling it out. It means that you have a pretty complex journey still in the languages of love for you to figure out what you're leaving behind and what you're trying to find.
I just feel like I'm learning, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And then the universe is like, nope.
What I'm saying is that like maybe something that in the past you considered to be a terrible thing will actually be happening, and it might actually be something that's really positive for you. You can't have this doomsday mentality, is what this card tries to get across, because you can always find the silver lining, no matter how shitty the situation.
That's an intense card.
It's a little intense.
All of the other love readings that I have gotten like in the past have just been like, just be patient, just be patient. This is like so specific. It's confirming too that I have had these things in my past that I have seen like it's in a cycle, like it just keeps going, and I just have been putting off dealing with it. So I don't know, this is great. Thank you so much.
Of course, I'm happy to.
I thought that was dope. I feel like it's therapeutic in a way, and Matt is such a person that has this energy that you feel comfortable in sharing. And I shared something I never shared before in my life, like the whole thing that happened in New York City. This is the first time I shared this with anybody, and I just remember this. But that was great. I felt like it was so dope and so fun.
The messages are really great. I love the cards. I really feel like I don't feel like I'm walking away feeling like, oh man. I feel like there is hope. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too. That's great. That's beautiful.